Hey, how's it going there, folks? This is Pablo from sidlist.com. If you never heard of that before, which you probably haven't, because it's not invented yet, um, it stands for shit you didn't learn in school. And pretty soon you're going to see a YouTube channel and a blog under the same name and brand. But in the meantime, this is just a podcast, kind of getting my thoughts flowing, getting ready for all the content I'm about to bring you guys. Um, what I'm really going to be doing here is kind of just testing my equipment, kind of testing my tone and rhythm and all that, and just seeing if this information flows out of me like I'm kind of expecting it to. So let's go. Okay, the day is December 16th. It's a Monday. Get my Monday on. 2019. So at the very end of a decade. Um, Good time, do some reflection. Look back at the year and look back at the decade, really. I mean, what the hell happened, guys? I mean, you know, I freaking graduated in '09. So my adult life, my entire like adult life on my own has been in this decade. And I'm not sure if everybody's adult life starts off like this, but, I don't really, it's just, I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. It's like we're still at war. Still got an idiot in the White House. Um, it's just a different idiot, but still an idiot. And you can go ahead and disagree with me on that, or, that's just my opinion. This is just a podcast. You don't want to get your feelings all tickled every time I say something you don't agree with. Um, but yeah, that's how this podcast is gonna go. I'm just gonna ramble, is what's gonna happen here. I'm just gonna ramble, and I do this all the time with people, with friends and family and people. Usually when I'm smoking. Um, but I'll ramble, and for the most part, most people don't keep up with me. And kind of is like I kind of need to put this somewhere. Kind of the motivation behind starting a YouTube channel and all that. It just got a lot of things in my mind. And one of the things in my mind that's kind of in my mind for like a while now. When I mean a while, I mean like a couple years. Kind of been like this kind of sort of seed of an idea in the back of my head. Starting to take root. I kind of been going through my own kind of, I want to make a big deal about it or anything, but I guess you could say journey, past couple years. I just got divorced. Um, yeah, for all you people celebrating, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Okay, so this first episode's all about me kind of like figuring out my equipment and stuff, and I just had my first malfunction, so I'm just gonna roll with that. I forgot what I was saying. I could totally kill my flow. I said something about being divorced. So yeah, I'm 28 and been divorced. I'm a veteran. I still work technically, for a very famous Silicon Valley company, which I will not say as of the moment due to legality issues. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys can go ahead and guess, but I'm not going to confirm or deny any guess. Just let you guys play with that idea in your head. Anyways, yeah, so where I'm at right now with this whole wanting to start a channel and you know, just get online and make an online presence is that for one I need an outlet. Kind of already stated that earlier, but more of just like, you know, I kind of named my brand shit you didn't learn in school because this whole journey thing I mentioned earlier was kind of had like an epiphany one day. Yeah, it's not like those stereotypical one day just hit me a light bulb went off kind of moments. It was more of a like a something that was always been there. It never reached the front of my mind, if that makes sense. It was a kind of like, where am I going? You know, a couple years ago, I was at the let's say bad. What the fuck just happened? God, son of a. All right, okay. Another hardware malfunction. Seems like every time I want to go deep. So I'm just gonna set. Okay, I'm walking around with the phone in my hand. Okay, all right. I think I figured it out. Got my setup going. Just not gonna touch anything. So leave it where it's at. Should be fine. All right, back to the point. Uh, I was leaning somewhere with that. Okay, so why did I name my brand Shit You Didn't Learn in School? Well, the short version of the story is I kind of just realized, growing up and getting on my own is that you kind of left, like, you don't stop learning, you know? You really don't. Like, you kind of like given this narrative as a kid that you go to school, you learn everything you need to know, and then you go into the adult world and like school prepares you for the real world. How many times have you heard that? And you go in the real world and you become an adult and you look around you and you figure out none of these adults know what the fuck they're doing. No, they just got good at acting like they know what they're doing. All right. There's a difference. There's a difference between like actually knowing what you want in life, going out and getting it and figuring it out versus, hey, this is what my parents told me. This is what I figured out so far. And, you know, ask questions. I don't know what else to tell you. Like there's a difference. And, you know, I just felt like educationally, Americans, maybe just, millennials, this generation in general, um, we're not really like, we can learn things so quick, but like, we don't know what to learn. I think is the problem. With the invention of the invention of the interweb, um, you can pretty much look up whatever you want and at the very least, get a generic ass description or tutorial or whatever on how to perform or do said thing. They didn't have that a couple generations ago. So you kind of figure this generation would be the smartest out of all of them. You would figure, right? Now, I'm not saying this is the stupidest generation. I would say this is probably, see, I gotta pick my words carefully. Sensitive. Bam, there you go. It's the most sensitive generation ever. It's my generation, which is the funny part. I'm technically a millennial, but, I'm not. The whole thing about making fun of another generation, I think, is dumb. It's dumb. I'm doing it, but it's more to bring a point to that there's differences between generations. But to make fun of another generation, like your generation never did anything stupid, is just dumb. Like baby boomers and generation, like people born before 1980, whatever, people born before the millennials, all you people saying millennials are this, millennials are that, and you guys are going to kill Earth and you guys are the worst. Who the fuck raised us? Yeah. Who raised us? Think about that. All right. It was a generation before us. You guys are all fuck ups because of the generation before you. And they're all fuck ups because of the generation before them. It's a cycle. It's just, I think Mufasa was trying to tell Simba. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's fucking dark places you stay away the fuck away from. It's things you're supposed to learn, things you're supposed to fucking, you know, pass on. But you're not going to get everything perfect. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that this generation should be the smartest. It's not. Why? And I'm not saying it's because we're a bunch of idiots. It's the fact that there were so many things put in place within society to kind of like, almost like hinder progress in a way. When you really look at it, you got to go back a long time to really see it. But it's like, it's a long time coming, you know? Like, we're not here by accident. We're not, like, this election year coming up is probably going to be, I don't know, it'll be crazier than the last one, but this election era, just like elections in this time and era, they're so freaking dramatic. They're so dramatic, the election, and then the actual, like, service term is, like, ridiculous. Like, nothing that was ever promised ever comes to fruition. You kind of just start to realize that politicians in general, professional politicians in general are charlatans. They're only in that position. They're only in a position to be put in front of you to be, showing off as like a leader or someone that would take care of you. But in reality, you got to look at it like, okay, how the hell did he get the opportunity to even go up there? He kissed someone's ass. He licked someone's butt. He did something to get that job. And okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh. All right. I'm sure not every single politician ever is a douche, but I would say a vast majority of politicians are douches. And that's the problem, is that we're abiding by a system where the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the people running the government are douches. And literally the government is set up to profit off of it, but not for the people, but for the people in the government and the people peddling to the government, defense contractors, oil industry, the media. Like, everybody's got their own piece of the pie. They got their own part to play. And, the way the system works is it's just gotten better and better and better of having the public be okay with it. Because every time the public knew that they were getting fucked over, they stood up and fought. But in the new era, we're kind of tricked into thinking who's doing the fucking, instead of the people versus the government has literally turned the people against itself. That's really what is wrong right now in this country, in my opinion. All right, gotta be politically semi-correct with you people, and it's not even political. That's just truth. Like, the government is literally set up to help the few, and anybody who is naive enough to think that just voting for the president will fucking fix all your problems. Yeah, and I'm not saying don't go out and vote, but like stopping at just the voting and not getting up off your ass and making changes in your own area, like, you're not helping. Like, I feel like the problem, like, with like just elections in general, is that when the politicians get up there and give you their little speech about how they're going to change the world, you feel like that's what you're going to do when you vote for them. And when you vote for them, you feel like, yeah, I just put that out in the world, which in a way, I guess you kind of did. But like, there's like zero follow through. Like, zero follow through, And maybe it's not your fault. We're all kind of conditioned to be like, go out and vote. They go to school, rock the vote, all that shit, trying to teach kids, voting's important. You need to go vote. Make sure you get your voice heard. Guess what? They don't teach you in school after that. So what to do after you vote, They don't teach you how to write your congressman. Maybe it's some teacher might teach their students that, but that's a freaking awesome teacher right there. It's not a requirement in any school. If it is, I'm probably going to get some emails about this shit. But I never heard of anything like that. I never learned that shit. I never learned anything remotely getting politically active. That is literally considered a freaking extracurricular activity that you don't get any extracurricular credits for. It's literally like a pastime. They treat it as a pastime. And I guess it is, but if you want your youth to like be citizens that engage with society and the government and just the world as a whole, that's something I feel like you would teach in school. They don't teach you that because they don't want you to get involved. They just want you to just get in line. I mean, anybody that's been out of school for a while, like anybody my age ish, anybody's been out of school for at least 5 years, think back to being in school. And I'm not talking about whether you're good in school, bad in school, whatever. Remember your most like earliest moment being in school. I bet you it was one or two things. One, you loved it. Two, you hated it. But the one thing we all agree on was that you didn't know why you were there. You were just thrown in there and told you it was important and that everything there is something you would need to know later in life. Which, English and reading, obviously, that is a given. Math, that depends on who you ask. People feel like you don't need to know anything about math. And sure, you shouldn't have to crunch numbers in your head because we got machines that could do it. But understanding math on a different kind of level. I think people misunderstand math, and I don't want to get too off topic, but math is a language. Math is a language that anybody can speak. Aliens, if they exist and they're from a different part of the universe and they come visit us, only way would be ever have any way communicating with these beings that don't speak any human language, is math. And I know some people were like, how the fuck would you know that? Got that off that one movie with, what's her name? I forgot. There was a movie where they explained this, but it's true. No, for real. Like, literally, math is its own language. And, you know, when you look for it, it's more noticeable. The way they teach it is, hey, learn this problem, use all your brain computing power to spit out this answer. All right, cool. What's also dumb is that because math is a language, you don't even got to, like, you could set up math problems to look different on a piece of paper and come out with the correct answer. You could set it up different. You could have like a decimal times a decimal. You turn it into a fraction. You're still going to get the same number. You're just speaking it different. That concept itself is never, ever touched on in school, that math is a language. It's just, no one ever looks at it like that. Why is that important? Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys, kind of picked up on it, but like, I would say I'm anti-government. That's kind of strong because I was a veteran. Was part of the government, so like I get it. Government's not evil. The government's set up to be broken, and there's people within it that are evil, but the government itself is not evil. The government is just a tool. So I'm not here bashing government. It's more of, I'm kind of bashing all the citizens for not recognizing how a government should treat their citizens. I think that's more what I'm upset about. You know, I look around and I see the injustice of just lies politicians say, and I'm not just saying our politicians. I guess it's more the idea of politicians in general. These group of people that have some kind of special power to be able to decide things about our lives. I mean, I was born here, and most people would be eternally grateful, and I am grateful to be born in America. But just being born in any, first world, being born in any country, when you're born there, you weren't asked to be born there. And as you grow up, you didn't ask to be part of the society you're thrown in. You're literally just kind of forced to follow the rules. And, as you grow up, you're taught that rules have a reason to keep society in check. And while you can make arguments that, yeah, a lot of that's true, I think it still kind of overlooks the fact that, why should I? Oh, wait, this is American land. If you don't like it, then you can go leave. Yeah, I've heard that too. All right. And while that's a very solid argument, just because you're born here, why are you entitled that it is yours? When this country was first taken over, nobody that's alive today was alive when that happens. Why did any of us feel entitled? Why? Because we were born here? You got the luck of the draw. People want to look down on other people from other cultures. Well, you know what? That's like, what if you were born there and that guy was born in your spot? Would you feel the fucking same? I don't think you would. No. Anybody that says otherwise is full of shit because they wouldn't know, because that couldn't happen. So it's more of just a thought experiment. It's a rhetorical question. Don't answer. If you said that shit out loud, you're a fucking idiot. You can go find another podcast to go listen to. Okay, that was a little harsh. Oh, man. Yeah, see, I needed this outlet. I'm usually just spitting these words at, like, people I know. Now I get to do it to all you strangers, and I don't got to hear anything back about it. But, yeah, this is definitely a ramble. I'm all over the place. But it's good, kind of, guess you're kind of getting a vibe of the different topics I might cover. I'm going to talk about politics. Not about, you should listen to my politics and your politics suck. More of just like, what are politics? When you really think about it, what are politics? Why should any of us listen to these freaking assholes in the White House who who are supposed to be servants and get all these special privileges, and the real fucking heroes, the people that join the fucking military, the grunts, guys that are actually serving and will be torn away from their family in a moment's notice. Those people, they get put in harm's way, not because some enemy's gonna attack us, no, but because somebody in a fucking office decided, hey, you know what? I think the troops should be over here or it should be over there. And I'm not thinking I'm not thinking any of the consequences about, how this might affect the people involved. It's just that, I gotta make a choice. Okay, that'd make no sense. Now I'm really rambling. I'm kind of losing you. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there are so many things that people just don't bring up, you know? And they're not, this isn't a random question. Asking what are politics isn't just a thought experiment. It literally undermines all of the crap going on in the world right now. When you really think about it. When you stop and think, what are politics? If you listen to what we're kind of force-fed in school and growing up and, in the media and stuff like that, politics are like man's way of separating itself from the animal kingdom, and that, before, government and society and all that, that man was a freaking savage animal with the rest of the animal kingdom, and this made us more elevated and whatnot. Well, I mean, I guess in a way that's not false. It's like kind of a pretty narrow way view of looking at it. Just because we sit around talk, if like you guys aren't actually listening when the other people talk, what's the fucking point? So many people going to those congressional hearings and they're not listening at all. They're literally there just to talk. Like next time you're like on TV and you're watching these impeachment proceedings and shit, look at the people. I don't watch the news at all, and I have a lot of reasons for that. I read it. It makes a big difference. It really does. And I'll get into that some other time, but the only time I see any of the news is when I'm at the gym and they got that shit on the TV and I'm gonna get on the treadmill. I kind of have to look at it. It's in front of my face. So that's the only news I get to see. And you just watch these people at these proceedings. If you're only halfway paying attention, you would see, wow, he's really giving it to him. He's fucking yelling at that dude, or he's proving a point. He sounds convincing, right? If you watch it from the beginning to end, and I can't really hear what they're saying. I got the subtitles on. It's at the gym, and people's got their headbuds in. I'm gonna be blasting the fucking impeachment proceedings or that shit. But yeah, like I'll be watching that or any kind of normal breaking news, fucking CNN, Fox News highlight reel, right? Watching any of that shit, you watch it with subtitles. I got my headphones in, but I'm not like, I don't hear the audio. I'm just watching it. If I don't read the subtitles, they look convincing. They sound like they look like competent people. But when you ignore their face and you just read what they're saying, you're like, this sounds like a bunch of fifth graders going back and forth. Sounds like my niece is squabbling. It sounds like a bunch of kids. And I'm not saying that to be disingenuous, but honestly, like actually do that one day. Turn on the TV, put it on mute, turn the subtitles on, and go back and forth between looking at their faces and then listening to what they're actually saying. And yeah, there seems to be a disconnection there. Politicians a lot of them have gotten really good at just being expert bullshitters and acting like they know what you're talking about. And, I don't know. It's just super obvious when you know what to look for. And I guess the reason this bugs me more now, because I was hitting at it earlier before I started having equipment malfunctions. But yeah, I've kind of opened my eyes open to other things. I was kind of raised Roman Catholic, and that's always been a touchy subject for me up until a couple years ago. When I made a conscious decision to walk away from my own religion. No one forced me into it. There wasn't, a big old speech on Facebook about why I'm doing it. No one even really knows until I bring it up. Like my family, I got a lot of family still goes to church, and they'll ask me to go, and I'll be like, I'm good. And, you know, they'll be like, oh, I see. They just think I'm avoiding it, but they don't. Some of them don't even really know, like how far away or removed I am from that. You know, I recently had to go to church for a funeral, and yeah, it felt weird. Felt weird going in there, but I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad. I felt less bad going in there now than when I was still going. And that has a lot to do with, kind of the conditioning I had growing up. I was kind of, in my perspective, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody that still goes to church. Because, like I said, I still got family that does it. Um, I understand there's a reason behind it. I understand there's a motivation behind it. I understand that it's a virtuous motivation. Um, but I'm the kind of person that, like, if I notice something that doesn't make sense to me, and then, my bullshit detector goes out, and any response I get back, if it just sounds like, if it doesn't make sense to me, then I just can't go. Like, yeah. I'm not saying I don't believe in God. I'm not an atheist. You know, if anything, you're going to make fun of me. I, I would say I do believe in a higher power, but but I think most of us totally misunderstand what that really means. Like what church does, it kind of personifies a force that is ever present everywhere, but they put a white guy on it. And that's kind of my problem. Not that it's a white guy, but just that one, it's a person. Second off, it's a male. And to top it off, it's a white male. Fucking Santa Claus looking dude. Supposed to be our father, who just so happens to look like a lot of other father gods in history. And I'm not even going to go into that right now. But it's more of like, I could see within, I went to catechism, I went to the Bible studies, and I was really into it when I was younger. But as I got older, I stopped going as much. And I know all you Bible thumpers are going to be like, well, that's why you walked away, it's because, you stop reading the Bible. You stop forcing that crap down your throat so you just can't take it down anymore, right? Yeah. You can keep forcing that crap down your throat. I realized part of that conditioning was not conducive with my well-being. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of things said in the Bible where, like, they kind of like stress how guilty you're supposed to feel. You know, yeah, yeah, maybe it's just I'm focusing too much on the negative aspects because I've been told plenty of times there's all kinds of little nuggets of wisdom within the Bible. The thing that bugged me was the fact that just it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Why would God make a bunch of people to only exist on Earth for a few decades, and then if they didn't pass this magical test he didn't freaking tell them about when he first made them, then you're gonna burn in hell forever. Like that, just like when I really sat there and thought about it, I'm like, what kind of sick fucking asshole? What kind of sick fuck does that? If God is real and that's how he acts, then fuck him. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's how mad and upset I would get thinking about it. I'm just like, if he's really an asshole like that, fuck him. But that little epiphany I was telling you about, um, I was actually watching, I was on YouTube. I was on the internet, right? Doing millennial things, fucking watching garbage and shit. Um, I was on there and I don't know. So I was watching a video. It was talking about uh The Secret. If you were into that shit, I'm not sold on The Secret per se, but the idea that everybody like actually influences their own life kind of struck a chord with me, as opposed to being just an ant in the freaking ant farm of this fucking asshole god that may or may not just be a douche. That like a different idea that stuck with me. And the reason I held on to that ideology for so long is, you're kind of, at least from the Catholic upbringing I received, uh, my name's Pablo. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of the video, but yes, I'm Mexican American. I don't know if you could tell that by my voice. I guess you could. I don't even know what a California accent is, all right? Just sounds like a normal, non-accenty talk. And it wasn't until joined the military and got to travel the country that I realized, oh yeah, like everybody's got a different accent, and California accent means no accent. So means we understand what you're saying. But where's I going with that? Oh, just that with crap. Give me a sec. Okay, now I remember where I was going with that. Yeah, just, my eyes were open to other possibilities, for the first time. Uh, I was kind of brought up, they kind of brought up in my household, my rules, my upbringing, uh, that, like, if you, like, stop believing in it, then you were pretty much a puss and you couldn't hack it. It's kind of the vibe you get, So it was almost like I don't know. It's kind of like calling me chicken. Oh, what? You're going to leave the religion? Pussy. And it's like, what? No, I'm not going to give up like these other assholes, that was me, and I held on to it. But I was always bugged in the back of my head about those things I already brought up, like, is God really an asshole? Like, what happened before God? Why does he look white? Why? Why it is all these things, and people just tend to be okay with it. That's another thing that bugged me is no one ever speaks the hell up anymore. Everybody just kind of, you go to work, boss does something he's not supposed to do. Everybody's like, oh, boss is mad. Like, no, I mean, it's not. Like, everybody's got rules they got to follow. Well, you're scared your boss is going to retaliate for you fucking calling him out on his shit. Well, guess what? I got it on paper that I called you out, and if you're retaliating, I'm just going to point out that you retaliated and you get more trouble. Like, fuck, like, speak up, people. Stop being scared of what other people are going to think. Like, I'm putting out this recording. I'm told so much personal shit about myself. I don't even know you. Whoever you are listening, I don't even know you, and you know all this crap about me. People need to stop being afraid of just like who they are, what they want, who they like, and just be okay with it. I get that, like, we're in this hyper freaking like divided state of society right now, I guess is the best way to say it. It's not just politics, it's freaking sports, it's freaking, well, that's mainly politics, but shit, go on any kind of internet forum about anything anime related, you're gonna have people arguing back and forth about the newest episode of Dragon Ball, or you got people petitioning to kick fire directors over movies they didn't freaking enjoy. It's just like, to be famous and a celebrity or be in a position of power at all is like the public is making it a total buzzkill. It's like anybody like starting off like on a journey of like wanting to, like, I don't know, become a politician or an actor or do anything in a public spotlight. It's like you almost like being like, I guess like the media is almost making newbies not even want to bother with it, you know? Like, why even, like, if I be like, obviously money's always gonna be a big motivator, but someone getting rich off the stock market versus someone getting rich off being a musician is like a very different vibe. You make a song someone doesn't like, it's like your income's shot, as opposed to, the stock market, you just make money off other people's money, never really do anything. It's another fucked up thing about this country is that damn economy. No one even understands how the fucking economy works. Not you idiots. No, not you idiots. Not you, the listener. If you're listening to this and you're still listening, you're all right. You're still here, all right? I'm going to kick back a little bit. If you're still listening, then you know what? You're not that bad, all right? And I misjudged you. I was being just harsh in the beginning, trying to get off the weenies, the sissies, the people that are going to cry and bitch about everything I say, you know? they're still probably typing their essay to me right now as we speak. But if you're still listening and you're enjoying the podcast, I appreciate it. I'm just going to continue with, look, I forgot my damn point when I went off track, and I'm going to remember it in a second. So, hold up. Okay, I remember. Yeah. So, like, when you like, another thing they don't really teach in school that, like, I just baffles me is just, like, how the economy works. Yeah, you have an economics class, but they literally feed you the information in such a boring, fucking uninteresting way that, like, I can't think of anyone. Ask anyone you fucking know that hasn't been in school in 5 years. Hey, how was your economics class? What'd you learn? Crickets. It's gonna be fucking crickets, all right? And it's because, like, it's the way they present the information. The information, like, they always, like, in school they always try to, like, make the end of the lesson like the end of economics. Hey, all these old style economies didn't work, and we're gonna end it with how the American economy works. Yeah, that's one that works. All right, cool, end of story, next class. Right? I bet you that's how they set up the lessons. I mean, that's how they do it with the history books. The history always ends with, like, how things are in their present state, and it's almost like, look how shitty things used to be, look how good they are now. All right, and end of story. I mean, that's kind of a very vague, sweeping, kind of way of describing it. But, I mean, in a nutshell, if you really think about it, that's kind of how, like, all textbooks are set up. They're always made to look, the people that wrote it look like the good guys. That's any book, you know? When you're the author, you get to fucking choose how you want it to end, But what people don't think about is when everybody's reading the same book, y'all getting the same message, y'all getting the same programming. And if we're all got the same programming, if you've never heard the term groupthink, then you won't be able to appreciate what it means to be able to have everybody on the same level. Like, everybody, when they're a child, you're taught certain things. Everybody is, all right? That's when you get older, it kind of just, like walking. We're all taught how to walk, mostly. Most of us. The competent people. We're all taught how to walk. And that's a bad example. I'm just going to roll with it. We're all taught to walk, right? So if we're all taught to walk, that means when someone says or describes or does anything around walking, you get it. I don't know why, because you already know how to do it. Someone says they tripped. The only reason you laugh is because you know how to walk and you saw someone mess up. We always find things that we shouldn't mess up to be funny. Humor is weird like that. And one of the most universally funny things that, people's humor is different. And it's not just, some of you probably find me funny. Some of you probably think I'm an idiot. That's a good example right there. But as far as just, like, what is funny across everybody, like someone tripping and falling. And you want to know why? It's because literally everybody's taught how to walk. It's just, we're all vibe on that level. So that's why it's a universally funny thing. Now, let's say you're taught something more specific. Like, hey, the sky is blue. Guess what? We're all going to agree when we get older that the sky is blue. What if you're taught, hey, kid, child, whatever the hell, son, what if you're taught, like, something racist, something bad, something horrible, you can use your imagination. I won't get into specifics, but if we're all taught that, why would we not all agree with it when we get older? When you go to school, if we're all taught the same lessons, we're all going to agree on it, right? If you're taught a lesson that is not exactly true, if no one is there to tell you isn't true, what would stop you from thinking it isn't? Or that it is true? And then everybody else there also agrees it's true because no one told them that it was false. So you're all in agreement of something that's true, or you think is true. If I still got you, let me give you one more example. All right. So let's say you go to school, all right, and it's a class that everybody, okay, let's not say the world's realistic. Let's just say within your city, right? to a certain school district. They have a very specific lesson on how to do math, right? How to multiply decimals, right? And they only teach you how to multiply decimals. And you learn how to do it. The whole city knows, every kid in that city knows how to multiply with decimals. Say you go over to the next city, and those kids over there were not taught that. They were taught something else. They were taught fractions, with the line over the other line. Like it's the same thing. Like if you were put in a calculator, it would come out to the same answer, but on paper it would look different. You take both of those schools and they meet up at the state championship, and then like the question is, like freaking Jeopardy, where they give you the answer, then you're gonna write the question. If they were putting that freaking very specific, weirdly worded scenario, when they freaking hit the buzzer and both kids showed their answer to this freaking, whatever the math question was, like here's the answer, tell us what the question is, style Jeopardy thing. The one kid would, they'd both be right, but they'd both be different. One kid would have it in a decimal format, the other kid would have it in a fraction format. They both point and laugh at each other like, one nitty, he's way off. And then they both get it right and be confused. Think about how many times that happens all the time, every day, with everything. We are literally taught so many things here in America that is not taught in the next country over, and vice versa. There's so many more vaguely specific things, to maybe your region of the country versus the other region. I'm on the West Coast, I already said I had a California accent. I'm taught certain things that is necessarily maybe not taught on the East Coast, like Midwest, East Coast people. You guys know how to handle a snowstorm. I wasn't taught that here in California. It doesn't freaking snow, so I would know nothing about it. Where is I going with this? Kind of losing my train of thought, but not really. The point I'm trying to make is that people don't know what they don't know. And things you thought you learned are usually not enough to explain what you're seeing. And the things you're seeing right now are a result of that misunderstanding playing out over generations. And it's not entirely our fault. It's not entirely our parents' fault. It's not entirely our grandparents' fault. Something that's been happening for a very long time. And it has to do with a misunderstanding of how the human actually operates in the human condition. And the fact that this whole thing started with politics, can get really deep, because I'm starting and talking about politics, but really the real reason I'm bringing any of this up, it has to do the very, spiritual lesson, if you want to put it like that. We're all connected. We're all connected. Everything's connected. And it's like, if you've heard that before and that you just can't wrap your head around what that freaking means, think of it like teeter-totter. You going up on one end, the other end goes up. Something happens on that end, like a fatter kid gets on that side of the teeter-totter, that other end goes up. It's a push and pull. All right. Think of life as push and pull with everything. All right. Every time you have a thought, every time you say something, every time you move, you're affecting your surroundings. You're influencing your surroundings. And I'm not talking about a metaphysical way. I'm talking about like a literal way. Like you literally walk through the air, you're pushing air out of your way. You talk, you literally send vibrations through the air. You have something, you say something that reaches another person's ears. You're literally manifesting something in their brain as you talk. Like they're deciphering and trying to apply meaning to whatever's coming out of your head. Like all the listeners here, I might be talking, but you guys are going to hear this at a different time from when I recorded. So even though we're not in the same place at the same time, I'm still in a weird kind of way influencing things around me. We're connected. We're connected because even though we're not in the same spot, in the same point of time, we can still influence each other. And it's not just with, recordings and internet and, podcasts and what have you. It's just the fact that people don't really appreciate that we all share the same space, and that even though we're, you can live on one side of the planet and I can live on the other side of the planet, we're still connected because we're on the same planet. And it only seems like really far away from us in a different spot because it's relative to us. We're really tiny compared to the planet. And our planet isn't even the biggest planet in the solar system. And, if you want to zoom out and do that freaking stereotypical thing you see in the movies, like that Men in Black ending scene where everything just zooms out and you see how tiny we are compared to everything else, you can do the opposite. You can zoom in on a human and realize there are billions and trillions of little bacteria up and down your body. You are literally like your own galaxy. You got these Osmosis Jones, people walking through your body each and every day, having their own lives, doing their own thing, not even being aware of the bigger thing they're a part of. So we're not the smallest thing, but we're not the biggest thing either, all right? And that should be really humbling. And, talking about all this political stuff and marriage and God and all this crap, if you feeling all heated, just remember, just remember what I just said. Like, we're all connected. If I offended you, if I freaking tickled a feeling about something you might have been, you were really cut through the politics, but as soon as I brought up God, oh, that freaking triggered something, right? And at the end of the day, even if you believe in God, look, you got to realize this conversation, this is what we're doing, this is like the last thing on his freaking mind. He's got so many things in the bigger macrocosm to worry about. You think he cares about me slightly offending you, And I'm not trying to say your feelings don't matter. Just saying, remember, your feelings only matter to you first and the people that care about you, and to, sympathetic people that don't know, but, can see you all frustrated and shit from a distance. I don't know. Like, you just got to realize at the end of the day, these are just words, and how you respond to them is your own choice. So you could choose to be mad. You can choose to maybe have picked up a little nugget of wisdom. I don't know. Do what you want. It's a free country for now. And I guess this is a conclusion of my first ever podcast recording. Ranting, whatever you want to call it. I don't even got a name for this yet. I guess I'll just call it Pablo's perspective. Because that's what this is. It's just my perspective, guys. I know I have a lot of opinions and I can get all fiery, but I'm not trying to influence you. I'm just trying to open people's eyes. People have other points of view, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be hearing a lot of people's point of view pretty soon when I put something like this out. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get a reaction. I'm trying to see how y'all feel. If you agree with me, you disagree with me, why? Why do you disagree with me? Whatever. Starts a conversation. Why we're all connected. And I'm going to keep repeating that. I'm going to turn it into a catchphrase or something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to end this. I'm just rambling at the end too. But yeah, if I figure out all my links and stuff, I will sure in the next episode to tell you to go to my links and all that stuff. But this is just like my virgin podcast. I just popped my cherry, so go easy on me. I will let you guys know when the next one's coming out. See how well this one does, and see if Spotify kicks me off. Okay, all right, you have a good one. And ciao.